I hope that everybody had a terrific and productive week. The very first meeting between world leaders, a summit per se, takes place in next week's Parsha between Avraham and Melchizedek Melech Shalem. Rashi tells us that Melchizedek was really Shem. And what we have here maybe is a passing of the baton between generations, between Shem, who comes from Dor Noach, to Avraham, who's going to lead the Jewish people into the future. And it's interesting that they eat lechem v'yayin specifically, because lechem is something that the older that it gets, so then the worse it is. It gets moldy. It has to be eaten fresh. It's for the here and now, as opposed to yayin, which the older it is, so the better it is. And maybe that's what's happening here at the summit. Shem is the yayin, that he's an older generation, but he's yayin, as opposed to Avraham, who's the here and now. He's the future of the people, but the future of the people starts right here in the present with the freshness of the lechem. And this teaches us two important lessons, both for parents and for children. On the one hand, for parents, we have to know that there's yayin, that there's a tradition that our people belongs to, and in order to have a strong future and a bright future and a productive future, so we have to stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. But at the same time, we also have to know that there's going to be lechem, that there's going to be a next generation, there's going to be people in the future, and we have to know when to let go and when to let them do their thing, the reason why they were put on the world. And as children, we also have to know that our religion stands on the foundations of those who came before us. We have to respect the tradition, but at the same time, we also have to believe that there is something critical that only we could contribute to the world. It's a combination of lechem v'yayin. And the same way that we say in Shemona Esrei, Elokeinu v'Elokei Avoseinu. And what's interesting is, in both cases, the present, the lechem and the Elokeinu, that precedes the past, the yayin and the Elokei Avoseinu. And maybe the lesson here for us is that tradition is critical, and we know that anything that we do has to have the backdrop of the tradition. But in the forefront of our mind, we need to believe very strongly that there's something that we can contribute. I'm always fascinated how Lecha always comes out around the Parsha, around the yahrzeit of Rav Meir Shapiro. And this was his life of building things, of creating things, of using his ingenuity to contribute to the Jewish people. He didn't have any biological children, but he had two children. He had the Daf Yomi. Can you imagine our world today without Daf Yomi? How many thousands and thousands of people and millions of Daf of Gemara are learned because Rav Meir Shapiro had the idea of Daf Yomi, as well as the idea of Yeshiva Chachmei Lublin, that Talmidei Chachamim should be living in a dormitory and be serving meals, as opposed to having to beg for food and go starving and cold and sleep on benches during the night. These were innovations that Rav Meir Shapiro made that impact our generation today. He certainly was standing on the shoulders of the past and on the legacy that he was handed, but he took the baton, lechem and Elokeinu, he took the baton to make his contributions to forever make an indelible mark on the Jewish people. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us as parents realize how to build and support and encourage our next generation's ideas. And as children, we should also realize that those ideas have to come on the foundation of the glorious history and legacy where we're coming from. Have a great Shabbos.